Create a life you don't need a vacation from. The Super Bowl is set, and what era would you have liked to have lived in?
Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit Hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Good morning. It is Monday, January 20th, 2020. It is Martin Luther King Day, a day of service. Day 129 of Gotta Get on Ellen. And here we go, people. 12 more days to go on the 30-day challenge. 18 days down, 12 to go. Rolling along. It is Grateful Monday. I'm going to get into that in just a second. I want to put out a little warning. My computer, it is just randomly starting to make this horribly loud-pitched noise. It almost sounds like a dentist drill. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to get myself a new computer, which is going to be such a headache trying to transfer everything over. Oh, my goodness. Good thing I have a credit card with a big old credit limit, right? So I'm grateful for that, the fact that I have a big old credit limit. But if you hear some horrible noise start, I apologize. I'm just going to keep plowing on. So here's hoping. Fingers crossed. So Grateful Monday. Some of the things that I have chosen to share with you from my gratitude journal for the past week. This is an exercise to show you how easy it is to pluck out 5 measly things at the start or beginning of your day to be thankful for. And being thankful for what you have will bring more abundance into your life. And it's really so very simple. So some of the choices I have made for this week to share are, I had gotten a text from a friend of mine wishing me luck on something that I had last week. It was very thoughtful, and I thought it was very sweet of her to reach out, to think of me and to reach out. I'm also grateful that I had coffee with my friend Lisa this week. We had a very nice time sitting at How You Brewin'. How You Brewin'. And I had a bourbon pecan flavored coffee. It was good. I was grateful that my Kindle did not die before I fell asleep. I got into bed, got all comfy cozy, and then I got a notice, 10% left. Time to charge. I wasn't getting out of bed. So I just was thinking, I just hope that I doesn't die before I actually get ready to turn over and fall asleep. And it didn't. Grateful for that. Small thing. Littlest thing. Still grateful for it. How many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Number 4. I talked about this on the group page yesterday. Joe and I did not cave and go out. You know that we're doing dry January. And it hasn't been that difficult thus far, but we have been sick. So this was probably the first weekend that we weren't, feeling bad. We could have gone out and, done something. Starting to get a little bit of cabin fever, being in the house all the time. We did have to go out because I had to stop somewhere to make an appointment for something and leave a deposit. So where we were right next door was this little bar restaurant that I had been to once, and I had said, Joe, it's really pretty good there. He's like, no, I want to go there. And probably in that moment, if he would have insisted in that, because I had said, do you want to just stop in that moment, if he would have said, yeah, let's do it, I probably would have. But he's like, no. So, and then we're complaining the whole way home that, if we wouldn't have left the house, it probably wouldn't have been so bad. But since we were already out, we were kind of like, oh, we could just stop somewhere, get out of the house for a little bit, socialize, have an adult beverage. But we didn't. We came back home and We just watched movies for the rest of the day. So I'm very proud of us. I know that I would have woken up the next morning feeling very disappointed in myself. So I'm very glad that we did not cave. And finally, the thing I am grateful for is I finally cleaned and reorganized my little china cabinet that I have with all of my, china. Other things are in there as well. So that's been something that I have been putting off because it's such a royal pain in the butt. I always wonder how it gets so dusty inside of there because the doors are always closed. I mean, I open them occasionally to take stuff out, but, come on. Come on. That's like a once-a-year job. So I'm good until next January, I hope. I rearranged everything. I kind of like it better now. I always worry about these china closets, or cabinets or whatever you want to call them. Ours is all glass with glass shells, and I always worry that someday one of the shells is just going to give. Just going to give, and everything's going to fall down, and everything's going to be broken. Shouldn't happen, but just a little fear of mine. So I hope whatever you are doing today, Grateful Monday will be a part of it. And if you have not started your gratitude journal, that you will start. See how simple it is? Simple. Very, very simple. I wanted to make a reference to the fact that Joe absolutely refuses to wear an Eagles knit cap. I have one that somebody had given to me, and it's kind of a men's hat. It's just very plain, and it's black, and it's just got the Eagles logo on the front. And, I told you last week how Joe had a run-in with a deer, and I think they both lost. But Joe had to take his car to the shop last week. We're not getting the car for another 2 weeks. Oh, geez, man, it's crazy. But he left his knit cap in his car that is now at the shop. I said, I have this Eagles hat because we don't have a backup. I had bought him a number of hats when we first got married, and he didn't like any of them. But he must have thrown them out. He looked everywhere this weekend for them. It's not the first time he has looked for them, and he just can't find them. So, because the one he has that he left in his car, of course, says the Giants on it because he is a Giants fan. Refuses to wear this hat, though. And he kind of plays it off. He's like, yeah, I don't really need it, when I'm sitting outside, I'll put my hood up. And then, I just got to walk to the car. I don't wear it in the car anyway, so it's no big deal. Well, then what do you need a hat at all then? What do you need a hat at all then? But I put some thought into it, and I thought, no, you know what? I would wear the hat. If it was the only option I had, I would wear a New York Giants hat. I would probably turn it inside out or arrange it in a way that the Giants logo would not be seen. He has that option as well. Won't do it. Refuses to do it. He knows that I would hold it against him for the rest of his life, probably. That's probably the main reason. Because you know what? I would. I'd be like, yeah, Joe. I put it all over Facebook. Joe's wearing an Eagles hat. Joe's wearing an Eagles hat. He gets a lot of heat for being a Giants fan and growing up in Eagles territory, as he should. Just saying, as he should. It's one thing to grow up in New York and move to Philadelphia. Your allegiance for the Giants comes with you, but he grew up in the Philadelphia area, Eagles territory, so I don't have a lot of sympathy for him. I just don't. And he just says, 4 Super Bowl rings. Yeah, whatever. So the Super Bowl is set. We're going to see Kansas City, the Chiefs, go up against San Fran, the 49ers. Andy Reid, the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Now that the Eagles have won a Super Bowl, because if you aren't familiar or don't recall, Andy Reid was the head coach in Philly for a very long time. He took us to the Super Bowl for the 2004 season. We lost to the Patriots. He always seemed to have a time management problem, clock management. I still believe that is what cost us that Super Bowl. I remember watching the clock tick down from like 4.5 minutes to like a minute and a half, and they like barely did anything. They just let the clock run. I'm like, what are you doing? Saw him do that a number of times after he left Philadelphia. Saw it in a number of playoff games where it seemed to be the same thing. Bad clock management. Hopefully, he has gotten that under control. I can tell you this. I am petty enough that if the Eagles had not won a Super Bowl in the last couple of years, I probably would not be rooting for KC because I'm bitter. I'm bitter that he never got that Super Bowl ring for the Eagles, and then he was be on a quest to get one for himself, but not for us. But it's okay now because we have ours. We're good. I mean, I don't have the ring. Nobody gave me a ring. But you know what I'm saying. It's kind of a shame, too, because I love San Francisco. They're my second favorite team. I have always said that. The San Francisco 49ers are the reason that I started watching football. Joe Montana is the reason that I started watching football. I had sat down one day to fold the laundry, and I had put on a show that was supposed to be on but was being pushed back because the Eagles game was on. And so I just left it on figuring it'll be over soon. I remember there was about 8 minutes left in the game. The Eagles were winning. They were playing the 49ers. The 49ers were Super Bowl champs at the time, and we were kind of crushing them. Well, I saw Joe Montana bring that team back in 8.5 minutes and win that game before going into overtime. They didn't even have to go into overtime. He was just that good. I was amazed. I was astonished. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. From that day forward, I was a football fan. So thank you to Joe Montana. Thank you to the San Francisco 49ers. But I will have to root for Kansas City in the Super Bowl, especially since it has been 50 years since they have made an appearance. I do feel a little bit bad for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers grew up in the California area, was a big San Francisco fan, really, really wanted to be drafted to the 49ers, was passed over. And obviously, of course, Green Bay picked him up. And he had made mention that he's going to make San Francisco wish that they had picked him in the draft. But alas, he will be going home and cleaning out his locker today, as will the rest of the Green Bay Packers. But that's okay because Aaron Rodgers has a Super Bowl ring. He won the Super Bowl for the 2010 season. So it's not like, he ain't got nothing. But I feel you. The people who pass you over or, don't give you enough credit, when they do well, it makes you feel bad. It makes you feel kind of a little bit like, well, maybe they made the right decision. They didn't in 2010, but maybe this year. But you know what? We move on. We move forward. We look forward. We don't look back. Right? That's the way you got to look at it. So for today's topic, I wanted to know, if you could live in any time period, any era, what era would it be? I believe I would love to live in the Roaring 20s, not the current Roaring 20s. Although I did, kind of go back and forth on that because, as Marcy pointed out, she said she wants to live in the future. And for women, I agree. It was tough for me to, and I was trying not to take it too seriously. Because, honestly, if I was going to be serious about it, I'd have to pick now or the future, like Marcy said, because women are finally starting to get to a position where they have some power. I mean, we obviously still have a long way to go, but, up until maybe 10 years ago, definitely 20 years ago, you very rarely saw women in power, not in government positions, and there were a few, very rare. So I feel like women are finally coming into their own and getting their just due. So, but that aside, I thought I would pick the Roaring 20s. One, love the clothes. Love the clothes. Love all the parties. I love the excessive drinking and smoking. I mean, how fun. Super fun. Just reminds me of Gatsby, flapper dresses and hanging around on a rich guy's couch, sipping drinks, smoking a long cigarette with a filter. Love it. Jim says the 50s for sure. People were more respectful then, more family-oriented. Dads worked.